show. I am your host, Christene Marie. We will begin reading the Course in Miracles lessons leading up to today, January 30th. So join me now as I start. Lesson 1. Nothing I see in this room means anything. Lesson 2. I have given everything I see in this room all of the meaning that it has for me. Lesson 3. I do not understand anything I see in this room. Lesson 4, these thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see in this room. Lesson 5, I am never upset for the reason I think. Lesson 6, I am upset because I see something that is not there. Lesson 7, I see only the past. Lesson 8, my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. Lesson 9, I see nothing as it is now. Lesson 10, my thoughts do not mean anything. Lesson 11, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Lesson 12, I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. Lesson 13, a meaningless world engenders fear. Lesson 14, God did not create a meaningless world. Lesson 15, my thoughts are images that I have made. Lesson 16, I have no neutral thoughts. Lesson 17, I see no neutral things. Lesson 18, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Lesson 19, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. Lesson 20, I am determined to see. Lesson 21, I am determined to see things differently. Lesson 22, what I see is a form of vengeance. Lesson 23, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Lesson 24, I do not perceive my own best interests. Lesson 25, I do not know what anything is for. Lesson 26, my attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Lesson 27, above all else, I want to see. Lesson 28, above all else, I want to see things differently. Lesson 29, God is in everything I see. And lesson 30, God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. The idea for today is a springboard for vision. From this idea will the world open up before you, and you will look upon it and see in it what you have never seen before. Nor will what you saw before be even faintly visible to you. Today we are trying to use a new kind of projection. We are not attempting to get rid of what we do not like by seeing it outside. Instead, we are trying to see in the world what is in our minds and what we want to recognize is there. Thus, we are trying to join with what we see rather than keeping it apart from us. That is the fundamental difference between vision and the way you see. Today's idea should be applied as often as possible throughout the day. Whenever you have a moment, excuse me, whenever you have a moment or so, repeat it to yourself slowly, looking about you and trying to realize that the idea applies to everything you see now or could see if it were within the range of your sight. Real vision is not limited to concepts such as near and far. To help you begin to get used to this idea, try to think of things beyond your present range as well as those you can actually see as you apply today's idea. Real vision is not limited by space and distance, but it does not depend on the body's eyes at all. The mind is its only source. To aid in helping you to become more accustomed to this idea as well, devote several practice periods to applying today's idea with your eyes closed, using whatever subjects come to mind, and looking within rather than without. Today's idea applies equally to both. Well, good morning. Good to see you guys. Dub Styles, good to see you. Brian, Tenebriss, that's funny. The Threat Wrestling, good morning from Puerto Rico. Y'all, the point in this lesson that I really, really, really loved, I want to go back to it because real vision is not only unlimited by space and time, but it does not depend on the body's eyes at all. The mind is its source. Y'all, isn't that so much of what we've been talking about, of how much power our mind has? How this time every single morning is like the arena and the training ground of our minds, of really taking every thought that passes through our mind captive and realizing that what we see and experience in the external world is really truly a manifestation of what's going on in our mind. And I've actually, I had someone get upset with me the other day because I posted something on Instagram which was by a Stoic, and effectively he was like, if you make beautiful choices you will see a beautiful world. And I just loved that. And so I reposted it on my Instagram, and somebody messaged me and was upset. They were like, we're not living in a beautiful world. It's so upsetting what's happening. And yes, there's so much of that that's so true. We live in a broken world. And especially when after my sister's husband was killed and then my husband left, and we're in this season of brokenness, and it's not like that ever changes. In this time, even after healing, it's not like those things change and the person comes back or comes back in any way. It's all a choice. It's all a matter of, how do I want to engage with the world? How do I want to see the world? How do I want to experience life? Do I want to experience a beautiful world, or do I want to fixate on all the bad things that are happening? And this is where it's really, really challenging, because I actually think that some of us are called to go fight for the injustice. And so we have to go and really know what's happening. And that's our calling. Like, that's why we're here. And for others of us, it's, I'm actually called to go love on the kids without parents. And for others of us, it's, I'm called to educate around emotional intelligence, educate myself and share with others. And then for others of us still, we're called to bring great leaders into the world. So we're all called to different things. And depending on our calling, we need a certain kind of mind, a certain kind of cultivated garden of the mind, that from which we can then draw and influence the experience of the world that we have, both the world that we engage with, but also the world that we need in order to, it's like the mind is the source. So this is what she said in lesson 30. The mind is the source in so many ways. So then the question becomes, what's the garden? There's this book by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh, and he likens our mind as a garden. So what's planted there? And what's planted there so often needs to be intentionally sown, like sowing the seed needs to be intentionally sowed based on, what's my calling and who do I need to become in order to achieve that? What do I need to fixate my thoughts and attention on in order to cultivate the person that I become in order to go and fulfill on that mission and on that journey? We love these like adventure movies. We love, Lord of the Rings, where Sam and Frodo are like packing their bags with as little as possible because they don't want to be held down on their journey. Our minds are the same way. What we put in our mind and what we fixate on in our mind is either going to propel us forward or hold us back on our journey of life. And so there's so much more that we could address here, but I just want to take a moment and jump into the chat, because frankly, this is something that I just love, this concept around our mind as the source. Raven, thank you for coming on here this morning. Good morning. PG, no, we don't do that. The threat wrestling, thank you so much for coming on here. I'm grateful for that. Paul, yes, live on 2 streams. I'm live on the Knowing podcast and also live on my personal one. David Bethel, good morning. Thank you for coming on here. Jurifisel, I don't know. I don't really know what you mean by that, but what would be interesting, Jerry, I'm wondering if you went back and listened to 2 nights ago, we had a chat with Dustin where he was talking about his father, who really, really had a difficult relationship with his dad. So I wonder if that might be encouraging for you, because coming to the point of forgiveness for our parents is one of the hardest things. And so I'm not entirely certain about what you've experienced that in that way, but I know that being able to forgive is probably one of the most important things that we can learn how to do. So 2 nights ago, we talked about forgiveness, specifically with his dad. So that might be encouraging for you. Julian, good to see you. Mike Thompson, thank you guys for joining on here. Dan, thank you for coming on here. Good morning, Soul. Drastic, thank you. Thank you for coming. Emotional intelligence. Mike, you know what's funny? He says emotional intelligence is such a woman thing to say. You know what's funny? I actually avoided emotions for so long because I really did view them as weakness. And it was only after reading a study and research done about men that I was like, oh, emotions are actually safe and they're actually something good and important to experience. So, and emotional intelligence, you know, how like we have intellectual intelligence, we need to cultivate emotional intelligence. Emotions really do constitute so much of us. We talk about the left hemisphere of the brain, which is, you know, when we talk about intellectual intelligence, the IQ, that's really what encompasses there. And then the right hemisphere of the brain, so much of that is where the EQ is cultivated. And so even as we talk today about the garden of our minds, where and how are we cultivating both of those with intention? You know, how much is the IQ being formed and I guess you could say even trained by what inputs, and same with EQ. What are the inputs in both regards? And how much are we intentionally cultivating each one versus just sitting here like a sponge absorbing whatever we see on our devices? I think it would be a really, really interesting challenge. You know, today actually marks the 61-day challenge for me where I've got there's about 20 of us and we're going to start doing respective challenges for 61 days. And I have a 25-minute timer set on my Instagram. And y'all, I got to tell you, that's been a really good mirror for me. You know, I get a 5-minute reminder when it's coming up to 5 minutes. And it's really stopped me from scrolling on my phone. So it would be interesting, you know, if you guys want to do an analysis of your inputs, I think that would be such a good challenge. You know, what are your sources? And then when we consider that the way that we view the world and the thoughts that we have are coming from our mind, and then our mind is coming from what sources? You know, what is coming into our mind and who are we allowing to influence our mind? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this just amplified in terms of degree of gravity. Look at all of these people that I have had no idea that are being sources to the way that I think, the way that what I believe, the way that I show up to the world. Because for all of us, so often we're just not conscious and we're not aware of all of the different sources that are impacting how we think and what we believe. Christopher Adams, good morning. St. Paul says in Philippians 4:7 that if allowed, God's peace will stand guard at the gate of our hearts and minds. And I find that empowering. I love that. Yes. Oh my gosh. There's also, I don't remember where this is, but there's this verse that says, take every thought captive. So I think of it as like an input, and then we like take the thought and we're like putting it in front of us, examining it. And then we get to decide, is this going to stay or go? Is this life-giving? I think it's lesson 16 says there's no neutral thoughts. And so every thought, it's take it captive. And then I love this, Christopher, the peace of God. Peace is the safeguard, standing and like protecting our minds so that nothing comes in and nothing stays that is not giving us peace. And so then that's where we really need to consider, who do I want to be? What do I want to dwell on? What do I want to exist in the garden of my mind? Soul, good morning, Rare. Dubstyle, thank you. You know, it's funny. I wear these glasses early in the morning and then when I go to bed. So it's 6:30 my time. I'm in Arizona. So I wake up at 5, but I usually don't like get fully ready in the morning until after I do the show. Wayne Frog, good morning, Wayne. Thank you for joining. Yami, good morning. Thanks for coming on here. Zio, we don't do that, but you're welcome to stay on and listen. Let me just see. Just going down the chat. Dub Styles, I love this. Emotions can sway the decision so much. Got to check it. Yes. Isn't that? I'm so glad you said that. That's part of it with knowing our emotions and being intelligent about them, is that so often we will subconsciously make decisions that are emotion driven because we've never taken the time to honor our emotions in the first place. So it's actually a way of controlling our emotions to come to know them to begin with. Uh, Loic Louise, hello, good morning. Thanks for coming on here. Asadula, thanks for coming. From France. Oh, where in France? I'd love to know. Only I've been in Paris, and then I went to like a little city by train. I can't remember what the city was. I was on my way to Italy, and I stayed in this beautiful little town, and I guess it was kind of like south. It was south. It was probably like an hour south of Paris, but I don't know. All right, let me go down. John, good morning. Soul, thank you. I don't actually know where I just saw. I don't know where you're asking for where that could be. Where what is? You tell me where what is, and then I'll try to find it. You said where in the Bible that is. Justin, I don't really know. I'm reading some of your comments, and I'm just not I'm not sure what some of you all mean. Prime Rise, yes, I'm actually looking at the comments right now. And yes, I am running 2 streams. George, hello from NZ. Good morning. Y'all, thank you so much for joining today. The great one. I am just going to remind us one more time of today's lesson. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. So we've been talking about how our minds are likened to a garden, and whatever we sow, we reap. So whatever we intentionally plant in the garden of our mind is what's going to come out of us. And it's going to be what we fixate on. It's going to be what ends up forming so much of who we are. So the question of who do I want to be? And then how do I want to show up in the world? And then how do this question of God is in my mind. Do we actually really believe that? And do we honor that and cherish that? Because if God is in my mind, man, then I better be thinking about good stuff. So, y'all, thank you so much for joining. Philip, hello from Salzburg, Austria. Thank you so much for joining. We were just talking about A Course in Miracles, lesson 30. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. And I am going to take this and put it here on my alarms throughout the day so that I will do this exercise. And what I like here is that this exercise is not just applicable for what we see physically, but also literally just what we think about. So closing our eyes and kind of searching our thoughts and then applying this lesson. Y'all, I have a guest with me tonight. I'm so excited for y'all to join. He's an author, and I'm excited to get to know him along with you. So we'll be going live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm just going to pull up the book that he authored really fast. His name is Christopher Rise Edward, and he just wrote the book, The Silence Paradox. So I would love to have you join us. 8:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. And yes, I do love tomatoes. Y'all, I will talk to you all soon. See you tonight, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And remember, God is in everything that we see because God is in our minds. Have a wonderful day.